Imagine a world where violence and faith are intertwined, where every action is influenced by dark forces, and where one man's trauma ripples through an entire generation. This is the world of The Devil All the Time. Released in 2020 on Netflix, The Devil All the Time is a haunting psychological thriller that grips you from the start. Set in the desolate backroads of Ohio and West Virginia, this film takes us deep into a world torn apart by violence, religious fanaticism, and personal demons. With a star-studded cast, including Tom Holland, Robert Pattinson, and Bill Skarsgård, the movie delves into the lives of people struggling with their own dark choices and the ghosts of their past. Each character is trapped in a cycle of violence and desperation that will keep you on the edge of your seat. But what exactly is the movie trying to tell us? What drives these characters to the brink of madness? Why does faith seem to lead them down such twisted paths? In this video, we'll break down the chilling plot, explore the complex themes that make The Devil All the Time so unsettling, and uncover some lesser-known facts about the film's production. You'll also get an insight into the performances of its incredible cast and the symbolism hidden throughout the film. Trust me, by the end, you'll see this movie in a completely new light. So if you're ready for a story filled with betrayal, despair, and unflinching moral dilemmas, keep watching. And hey, if you're new here, welcome to Movies Review. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you won't miss out on any of our latest movie breakdowns. Let's dive into the dark world of The Devil All the Time. The Devil All the Time is set in post-World War II America between the 1940s and 1960s. This period was a time of immense social and cultural change, but the film doesn't show the more optimistic side of American progress. Instead, it takes us to the dark corners of rural Ohio and West Virginia, where the aftermath of the war still looms large. The world these characters inhabit is one of isolation and struggle. The rural towns are full of people who are trying to rebuild their lives after the trauma of war, but also trying to find meaning in a seemingly indifferent world. The setting is integral to the film's tone. These small towns, distant from the bigger cities, act as perfect breeding grounds for the characters' twisted beliefs and actions. It's a place where personal demons are often buried in the past, only to resurface with violent consequences. The bleak, isolated landscapes almost mirror the inner turmoil of the characters. There's a constant undercurrent of tension in the environment, with shadows lurking behind every corner, whether it's in a small church or a rundown motel. The time and place serve not just as a backdrop, but as a character itself in the story. The absence of modern conveniences in these areas, the simplicity of life, and the harshness of the environment amplify the film's themes of survival, struggle, and fate. At the heart of The Devil All the Time is the novel by Donald Ray Pollock, who also narrates the film. Pollock's writing is raw and unflinching, and his storytelling bleeds into the film's atmosphere. His voice carries the weight of generations of pain, making the narrative feel like a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked belief, violence, and revenge. Pollock, a former factory worker turned writer, has an uncanny ability to show the human side of dark, desperate characters. His portrayal of life in the Ohio-West Virginia region during these decades feels real, gritty, hard-edged, and ultimately tragic. The adaptation of his book into the film captures that same sense of hopelessness, and Pollock's narration adds a layer of depth and reflection, as if we're being guided through a history of violence and struggle by someone who's seen it all. His presence in the film, though subtle, acts like a constant reminder that the events unfolding are more than just fiction. They are reflections of real-world struggles. The novel's dark, layered storytelling finds its perfect counterpart in the film's somber and reflective atmosphere. The man behind the camera, Antonio Campos, is no stranger to disturbing, character-driven films. Known for his intense psychological narratives, Campos brings a level of depth to The Devil All the Time that transforms it from a simple thriller into a profound exploration of the human soul. His previous works, like After School and Christine, dive into the darker sides of human nature, making him the perfect director for this adaptation. Campos doesn't shy away from the uncomfortable. His pacing is deliberate, allowing the tension to build slowly and steadily. This gives the viewer enough time to sit with the pain, guilt, and dread that each character feels. The methodical unfolding of events ensures that every moment is charged with meaning, from the most serene to the most violent. Campos also uses silence as a powerful tool. The absence of sound amplifies the tension, and you can almost feel the weight of each character's decisions bearing down on them. The way he frames each shot also speaks volumes. The rural setting, with its dilapidated houses, empty roads, and vast uninhabited land, emphasizes how insignificant and isolated the characters feel in their struggles. Campos uses every visual element to reinforce the story's themes of darkness, isolation, and the search for redemption. The characters of The Devil All the Time are deeply flawed, haunted individuals, each of whom carries the scars of their past. Their struggles, shaped by trauma and faith, push them toward actions that are often hard to justify, but are deeply human. Willard Russell is the first of these tortured souls. A war veteran who returns home mentally scarred, he is unable to shake the horrors he experienced on the battlefield. His obsession with prayer and sacrifice becomes a desperate attempt to atone for the sins he believes he has committed. Willard's struggles are deeply internal. He believes that the violence he inflicts on others is a necessary part of his redemption. His character asks the question, is redemption possible when you're trapped in a cycle of violence and guilt? Then there's Arvin Russell, Willard's son, who grows up in a broken world where violence and trauma are passed down from one generation to the next. Arvin tries to make sense of the chaos around him, torn between good and evil. His journey is a search for meaning, and the choices he makes reflect his internal conflict. Arvin is a character who believes in justice, but the world he inhabits doesn't always distinguish between justice and revenge. Reverend Preston Teagardin, is a man of the cloth who hides a dark, twisted side beneath his pious exterior. He abuses his power as a preacher, manipulating his congregation for his own gain. He represents the dangers of blind faith and the moral corruption that can take root in institutions meant to guide people toward good. The Hendersons. Carl and Sandy are a married couple who carry out a gruesome spree across the state. They pick up hitchhikers only to use them for twisted purposes. Their actions seem fueled by a lack of moral compass, and they stand in stark contrast to the more religious, yet equally flawed characters around them. The Hendersons all show that evil can be found in the most unsuspecting places, and that the monsters aren't always who you expect them to be. Finally, Sheriff Lee Bodecker is another key character, representing the corruption and abuse of power that runs throughout the film. He's a man who will do anything to protect his career, no matter how much dirt he has to sweep under the rug. The film's plot is a labyrinth of intertwined stories that gradually converge in a violent and emotional climax. The narrative begins with Willard Russell, a man deeply affected by his experiences in the war, who tries to raise his son Arvin in a world filled with darkness and despair. Willard's tragic choices, including the death of his wife, set Arvin on a path of violence and revenge. As Arvin grows older, he encounters figures who represent the ugliness of the world he's been thrust into. Reverend Teagardin, with his sinister charm, crosses Arvin's path, pulling him further into a cycle of corruption and moral decay. Meanwhile, the Hendersons, who travel across the state picking up unsuspecting victims, leave a trail of bloodshed that is slowly revealed throughout the film. Eventually, the paths of these characters collide in a climactic, violent confrontation. As Arvin confronts his own demons, he is forced to decide what kind of person he wants to be. The ending leaves us with a sense of ambiguity. Arvin is on the run, unsure if he will escape the legacy of violence that has haunted him all his life. At its core, the devil, all the time, is about the destructive power of blind religious faith. Throughout the film, we see characters who use their faith as a shield, hiding behind it to justify their own moral failings. Willardine, for example, sacrifices animals and prays for forgiveness, believing that violence is a necessary part of redemption. The movie suggests that when faith is taken to extremes, it becomes a dangerous force that can justify the worst kinds of actions. Generational trauma is another key theme. The sins and struggles of the past are never truly left behind. Instead, they pass down from parent to child, creating a cycle of violence and despair that is hard to escape. Arvin's life is marked by the consequences of his father's actions, and he, in turn, becomes a product of his environment. The film paints a grim picture of how trauma and violence continue through generations, often in ways that feel beyond anyone's control. Antonio Campos uses a slow, deliberate pace to build tension throughout the film. This pacing allows the weight of the story's themes to settle in, making every moment feel charged with meaning. The cinematography is dark and moody, perfectly matching the film's grim tone. Every shot feels calculated, with shadows and silhouettes creating a sense of unease. The narration, provided by Donald Ray Pollock, gives the film a novel-like feel. It's as if we are being guided through a tragic history, one filled with pain, sin, and moral ambiguity. This storytelling choice adds depth to the film, making it feel like we're not just watching a movie, but hearing a cautionary tale. The Devil, all the time, received mixed reactions from critics. Some praised its boldness, its complex characters, and its exploration of dark themes. Others criticized its bleak tone and unrelenting violence. While many found the film's atmosphere gripping, the film's heavy-handedness in dealing with its themes left some audiences feeling uncomfortable. However, there's no denying that the movie leaves a lasting impression. It's not an easy watch, but its unsettling nature makes it an unforgettable one. The Devil. All the Time is a film that doesn't shy away from showing the darkness that lurks in the human soul. It's a bleak, haunting portrayal of how pain, violence, and blind faith shape the lives of its characters. While it may appear to be a story centered on crime and brutality, it's ultimately about the choices people make in the face of suffering and how deeply held beliefs can either heal or destroy. The film delves into the complexity of its characters, showing that they aren't just defined by their actions, but by the burdens they carry, the trauma from the past, the weight of their own faith, and the moral dilemmas that haunt them. The world they inhabit is unforgiving, yet it's a reflection of a deeper truth about human nature. The struggle between good and evil, right and wrong, and the lengths to which people will go to find redemption or revenge. Personally, I believe The Devil, all the time, is a haunting experience. It's not a film that offers easy answers, and it's definitely not for everyone. Its unsettling atmosphere, brutal violence, and unrelenting tone may leave some feeling uneasy. But for those who stick with it, it's a powerful and unforgettable movie. It forces you to think, to question, and to reflect on the darkness that exists not only in the world, but within ourselves. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more movie reviews and deep dives into your favorite films. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.